Hello, welcome to this channel. This is Awaken with Deb, where we talk about waking up to your soul's essence, erasing limiting beliefs, deprogramming everything that doesn't serve you, and finding that moment of peace and clarity where you feel like you can breathe again. If you feel like you struggle with anxiety, overthinking, maybe not even that, maybe you're in a state of bliss and you just don't know how to go to the next level. Maybe you are in a state of bliss and you just want to make sure that you don't fall back into a lower state. Sorry for the fidgeting. Apparently I have hairs that are tickling my arms. So let's get situated. All right. My name's Deb. I spell that with two B's. You can call me Deborah if you'd like. This channel, we share daily insights of how to help you come back to you, how to release the masks, how to end people pleasing for good, how to find it what it is that you really want, and not these stories that people told you to go after your entire life. What is it that you want? Here at this channel, we remind you of your worth. We remind you that you don't have to perform. You don't have to perform for love, for friendship, for wealth. You don't have to perform. You can just be you. But do you know what you means? There's a lot of people out there walking around as an avatar that is just a non-player character. And if you're watching this video, I don't think that you're one of those. I think you have this inner desire to be a main character. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here watching my video, because these videos are definitely out there. My whole channel is about esoteric, spiritual energies. Definitely having faith in God, because you are going to be tested. Because, I mean, yes, you don't have to perform, but God will test us, I guess. I don't know why. Maybe that's because we think that we're not worthy and we think that we need to be tested. Oh, the paradox. Paradox. That's crazy. There's okay. For your exercise for this day. Sometimes I throw out exercises. Your exercise for today is to be imaginative about what would you do if you had a magic wand and unlimited money, or if you need to put a dollar on, if you had $2 million. I'm not going to say a million. Everyone just says a million, a million. A million isn't very much. Okay. You can barely buy a house for $1 million. Ugh. At least the houses I live in. So if you had resources, if you had resources, if you had access to money, access to opportunities, access to the top minds and industries, what would you change about the world? What systems would you create differently? What different lifestyle would you have? Would you go back to school and really learn something that you actually want to learn? Or would you take everything that you've learned so far and go start your own business and just make everything better? And maybe it's not even as that. Maybe it's as much of, oh, I should have grabbed my list. So the point of this is, I did this exercise maybe a decade ago. And recently, through some decluttering, I came across the journal that had that in there, and I found it. And looking at this list, it was titled, if I can't remember if this was a magic wand. I think this was $1 million list. I don't think it was a magic wand list. I think it was $1 million list, which is limited. You can't do everything with $1 million. Like I said, it's not that much. So I had a sheet full, and here I am, somewhat, not quite 10 years, maybe 10 years later, and I'm looking at this sheet, and I've accomplished over half of these items. And am I what you would call a liquid millionaire? No. That is, Yeah, I am wealthy, so but like, one year I made $19,000 within that time frame. During that time frame, I was homeless probably at least twice. So if there was moments of being at rock bottom, I had still managed to accomplish over half of the things. I think it was even three quarters. I think there was only a very small amount of things that I had not accomplished. And some of the items were like, oh, with so and so, go and do this with so and so. And maybe I didn't go and do that with so and so. Maybe I kicked so and so out of my life, went and did it by myself. But I did it. But I did it. And as if it that exercise is great because it gets your imagination juices flowing, it gets your creativity going, and it gets you thinking outside of those limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. It erases the boundaries and the walls for just a moment, because our nervous systems have been trained that we aren't enough and that we aren't worthy of all this wealth and abundance and the life that we want. And it's going to take time to delayer all that clutter that is interfering with our true signal that is our soul. And this is one of those steps. This is one of those tools that we use to help build our nervous system around feeling safe to hold the life and desires that we want. Okay, so what is the exercise? Do we remember what the exercise is? We're going to get a pen and paper, because pen and paper is magic. It's not typing in your phone. Technology is also magic. And we're going to use pen and paper's magic for this. Just as you wouldn't use a vacuum to change a tire, we're not using our phone. Pen and paper. Title it. If I had a magic wand, I would. And definitely write the first things that come to mind. Okay. Even write that. First things that come to mind. Okay. And then the second category that you're going to do is think about all the things that you overthink about. Think about all the things that you worry about. And if you didn't address those within the top section, address them now. Actively problem solve your problems if you did not have limits and boundaries. And then on the last section, and when I started saying this didn't have sections. These sections were just made up on the spot. That's how good I am. That's how good I am. That's why I don't do products, because this stuff just comes through on the spot to the energy of whoever it is that's out there watching this right now. Like, through the quantum field, we are connecting, and this is for you. So get your pen and paper. First category, unlimited, magic wand. What do you want? Number 2, what are your problems and worries and overthinking categories? Problem solve those. Unlimited resources. Bam. Problem solve those. 3, what would you do for service? If look back at your life, and I say your life because everyone's life is different, and this is about you and finding your soul and your path and what it is you're here to do. So think back on your life and think of programs and services that either existed and served more harm than good, or existed and maybe just didn't quite have it right and just need some tinkering, or don't exist and that you wish you had as a child. Maybe there's a certain activity in a building that you're like, man, I wish this place existed that I could go to. For me, it was skate parks. Skate parks didn't really exist that much when I was a kid, so I wanted to grow up and build skate parks for people. By the time I grew up, A, I had a family I was worried about, and then B, skate parks were someone already did it. Someone already did it, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I'm at that stage now. What is it that can be done in our society so that in 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, we don't have all these 40-year-olds that are lost because we've been programmed to suck. We've been programmed to hate ourselves. We've been programmed to be part of a slave system for other people. So this exercise is about basically creating the world that we want to live in, but creating it on paper. Everything in this reality was created multiple times before it actualized. First, it had to be a thought, and then it had to become like a thought on paper, a thought in a computer, and then and then someone decided to act on it. Like things take steps and layers, and so does our soul. Out of water. So there's your exercise for today. What would you do if you could wave a magic wand and make your life magical? Because it is kind of like that. But you got to you got to imagine it first. You got to take the time. And also because what do you do in your day-to-day life? Do you ever take the time to think about this? Or are you just always overthinking, always have anxiety, always thinking about the next thing on your to-do list, always thinking about what you're cooking for dinner, always thinking about who said what or whatever? If you're always thinking about all these other things and you're never thinking about the life you actually want to create, then when do you get the time to give the universe its orders? When do you get the time to be like, yes, this is what I want, please? Like, it's important to take the time to place your order. And that's what this exercise is about. And then you get a little insight into yourself and your soul. What do you really want? And you're creating a document to look back on. Either feel proud of yourself that you accomplished some of those things, or maybe even just to look at them and be like, wow, my trajectory really changed and I actually don't even want any of those things anymore. Sometimes you come across those journal entries too. So go do the exercise. Report to me below some things that you would change in your life or in society if you could wave a magic wand. I want to know what kind of world you want to build. I'm going to end this there. My name's Deborah Kaye. I am here to help people understand they have a soul that's been buried and you're more than you think you are. So, awaken to yourself, to your true self, to your true essence. Now I'm just throwing out keywords for the algorithms. Supposedly that helps. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Comment. I want to know what type of world you're creating. Thank you for joining me. I feel so blessed and grateful to be able to share this information and wisdom and put it out there for millions to vibrate with. Millions are going to start thinking about the world that they want to create. And you think that's going to be a world of war and poverty and what's the other word I'm looking for? Separation, division. No, majority of people, that's not the world that they want to create. They want to create community. They want to create peace. They want to create expansion and joy, fun, love, right? Again, thank you for watching. I'm so grateful for you. Until next time, have a blessed day. I'm Deborah Kaye.